Hello and welcome to another episode of Cosmicgirlie Chronicles. I am your host, Jay Émme. I am a professional cellist and a music coach. And in today's episode, this one has actually come as a request. I sat with it for a bit and I thought, well, I don't really know that I can answer this because I don't know what's weird anymore. But the request was, what are some of the weirdest requests or the most curious requests made of you as a wedding cellist? And I was like, oh no, everything's pretty normal. I mean, everything's pretty straightforward. And I sat and thought with it for a bit and I was like, actually, no, there have been a tiny handful of requests that have really made me sit there and think, WTF, you want me to what? And I really hope I don't offend anyone with these because they're not meant to be offensive, but I have to be very honest that these requests came in and I'm like, I really actually don't even know how to respond to these. And like I said, I don't have many. I think there's like 3 or 4. So I'm gonna tell you them today. So the first one, and I don't think there's anything like cute, like this isn't bonkers. This isn't really out there. Not like some of the ones that are coming later. But the first weird request I had was from someone who emailed me and said, quite literally said, I'm getting married in 2 days' time and I really need a string quartet to play Pancham Bell's Carol. Yes, Pancham Bell's Carol. Also, you're getting married when? And you need a string quartet. And I was like, okay. First of all, I'm going to assume that's Pachelbel's Canon. Just going to make the assumption. Also, you want a string quartet and it's like 2 or 3 days. Okay. But the thing is, she didn't want to hire a string quartet. She wanted just solo cello to play all the parts at the same time. So I know you know Pachelbel's Carol, Pancham Bell's Carol. Pancham Bell's Carol. I want to call it that from now on. I mean, you know it. You know I'm not even going to sing it. But yeah, it was like, can you play that? All the parts on solo cello, but the string quartet version. And I mean, I was like back and forth a bit because I was actually a little bit confused because I really didn't understand that she wanted me to do solo cello. Like I really thought she wanted a string quartet. So I was like, well, I can see if I can get the other musicians involved. She's like, no, I don't want any other musicians. I just want the whole thing just on solo cello, like all the parts on solo cello. And the only thing I can think is maybe she was like, well, the cello's got 4 strings, so you can play all 4 parts. Or, I mean, I could speculate. I could speculate for days. I don't know. But the request was Pancham Bell's Carol on solo cello, string quartet version, all 4 parts on solo cello, in about 2 to 3 days or however long it was. I remember it was like when did the email come through? It was something like a Wednesday and the wedding was on a Saturday. And I was like, I think that's a no. And then I didn't hear anything else, which was kind of disappointing because I've always been like, no, I've not been stumped yet. But as it turns out, this one did well and truly stump me. So yeah, that to this day I'm still confused. To this very day I'm still confused. Anyway, another Pancham Bell's Carol. Another one that came through on a similar vein actually was a couple who they were really excited. I was really happy for them the way they approached me, and they wanted lots of different music on their day. And I was like, yeah, of course, that sounds amazing. What have you got planned? And I was like, they were like, oh yeah, we want we love the Bach cello suites, and we also really like some flute music. I was like, okay, so yeah, I can play the Bach, and do you want to let me know the flute pieces so I can play them on cello? And they were like, no, we want you to play them on the flute. And I thought, mate, wait, hang on, you want me to play the cello and the flute for your wedding? And they were like, yes, please. Like, can you play the cello stuff on cello, and then can you learn the flute and play the flute as well? And I said, surely it would be better, perhaps, to hire a flautist for the day because I don't play the flute. And the response was, yes, but since you'll already be there and we can't afford an extra musician to play the flute stuff, then you could just learn it instead and then you can play the flute on the day. I mean, I'm good at what I do and I have dabbled on the flute in the past, but you don't want me to play flute at your wedding, believe me, you really, really don't. And I was like, wouldn't you, I mean, would a recording not be better? And they were like, no, we want live flute. You can just learn to play the flute on the day. Okay, but I'm a cellist. Yes, but you're also a musician, so learn the flute and play the flute at our wedding, please. I don't think so. Not on this occasion. And then, needless to say, once again, didn't book that one either. I want to be clear. There's a lot of gigs that I don't get. There are many, many, many gigs that I do not get. I mean, I may be busy, but it is not all gigs that I have, like, not all wedding gigs that I have booked. Like, sometimes I'm like, you know what, I just need to go do some orchestra stuff or some ensemble stuff, whatever. But yeah, this one was like, no, I don't think I'm going to switch between cello and flute that I can't play for your wedding day, one of the biggest days of your life. I don't think that's going to happen. And so, yeah, I didn't book that one either, which was a shame because, you know what, it could have actually been really funny, me just rocking up randomly with a flute that I can't play. And actually, I do have a flute and it's in a hideous condition. I dread to think what's living inside it. And I know that one of the things, in fact, I'm pretty sure it's got a dent in it as well. And it's silver. It's like a silver Yamaha flute, I think. And I'm sure it's turning a weird colour, which I should probably get it out and clean it. But nobody wants me to do that either. So, yeah, so that's not going to happen. Anyway, Pancham Bell's Carol. So another request that came in. This one is, I like the others. I also can't wrap my head around this. I mean, I can't wrap my head around any of these, to be honest. But another one that came in was really, really cool. Again, she wanted solo cello. And she was really, really excited. She was like, oh, we have really eclectic tastes. I really love classical music. And I really love other stuff as well. I was like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, really, really cool. Tell me about the other stuff. Like, what might you want on classical? And she was like, the usual stuff. Like, again, it was like some Bach, I think a bit of Mozart and some Ave Maria and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, fine, no problem. And then I said, oh, what else? Bearing in mind, you're looking at solo cello. She was like, yeah, solo cello is beautiful. Can you play dubstep? What? She's like, yeah, I in the emails back and forth, it's like, yeah, I really love dubstep. Dubstep is amazing, and I just think it would sound fabulous on cello. So I thought, okay, well, maybe she wants backing tracks, like dubstep tracks, and then I'll just jam over the top. Don't get me wrong, I do like a bit of dubstep. Like, I don't mind dubstep at all. When I used to hula hoop years ago, hula hooping to dubstep, absolutely the best. So I was like, okay, I mean, I will jam over anything. Like, you put a track in front of me, I'll jam over it on cello. No problem. But no, she just wanted solo cello dubstep. No backing track, no accompaniment, not even a drum kit, not anything, just solo cello dubstep. And let me tell you, out of sheer curiosity, and I'm so glad I didn't record this when I tried this, out of sheer curiosity, I tried to see if I could replicate some of the sounds that you hear in dubstep on my cello. And I mean, sort of, but not to any degree that it would work. And so that was an absolute firm no. Did she even, but that was way back. I don't think she did. No, this was like, because this was, I think it was pre-pandemic. And yes, she did. She booked, and she loved what I played. She absolutely loved it. She was very, 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 very pleased. And it was great. And there was no talk of dubstep ever again, because I don't understand how to play dubstep on solo cello without any... Anyway, oh boy, Pancham Bell. Then the last one, right? And to this day, I still don't know how I feel about this, because honestly, I'm like, someone has got to be, like, I feel like I'm being punked with this one. Surely I'm being punked. There is no way that this is a true, valid request. It can't possibly be a true request. There is no way this is true. And to this day, I'm still like, no, I feel like I'm being punked. Surely it was a joke, even though it was verified and they were like, yes, no, we're deadly serious. So a couple wanted me to play for their ceremony, standard stuff. And I'm like, yep, no problem. Absolutely great. Sounds fantastic. And we had everything. I remember we had everything ready to go. They'd gotten a beautiful playlist. I don't think there was any backing tracks, but they got a beautiful playlist, like just cello, solo cello, no accompaniment or anything, no backing tracks. This was just for the ceremony, and they didn't want anything for like the drinks reception. But what they did want was solo cello for their post-ceremony lovemaking session. And yes, I'm still having trauma therapy for that request. Oh my God. They wanted me to play music for them whilst they made an attempt to conceive their first child post-wedding ceremony. Like, literally, oh my God. There is no way it's true. I mean, to this day, this one is this one I think was just, well, I say years old, just after the pandemic. So I think it's like end of 2020, maybe 2021. And to this day, I'm still like, no way. No, you cannot be serious. No, they were perfectly serious. They were like, yes, we've booked this room. We've booked this suite. We will pay you blah, blah, blah. And they were willing to pay a lot. We'll pay you blah, blah, blah. This is the venue. We've okayed it with the venue. So we'll make a space for you in the room. This is a photo of the room. I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Yeah, they wanted romantic cello music for their, and I quote, post-ceremony lovemaking whilst they conceived their first. Yeah. Needless to say, I turned that one down. I decided to go no further with that one. It did not interest me. Oh God. And to this day, just why? I mean, I'm sure it's a lovely thing for some people, and far be it from me to judge anyone with what they choose. I mean, I choose some really random music requests on my playlists, but I'm not going to play my cello for you whilst you do it. That's not happening. Oh my God. My life is bonkers and I really kind of love it. Anyway, I feel like that's enough for today. But thank you. Thank you, friend, who wanted to know. So I don't answer these questions very often, but sometimes it's like, you know what, I'm going to share. But yeah, just some of the most curious requests made of me as a wedding cellist, and I'm like, I just know. There's probably more that I've probably wiped from memory. I mean, some of these are going to stick forever, Pancham Bell, because I just don't think I'm ever going to be able to remove the memory because it just makes me laugh so much. But yeah, oh God. Anyway, there's lots of things I will do for my clients for their day, and I will move as many mountains as I can for them to have the playlist that they want, but I will not do those things. And no, I'm not going to play flute at your wedding. Anyway, thank you so much for listening today. Don't forget to check the show notes for any goodies, links and interesting giveaways or latest news. Don't forget you can also subscribe on wherever you're listening. You may be listening on Spotify, Apple podcasty things, Amazon Music, YouTube. Like, I'm trying to get everywhere. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please do give it a thumbs up. And if you really, really loved it, then please do share and subscribe. I really appreciate it. It helps me and my little podcast to grow. Thank you so much and have an amazing day. Bye.